This is Week in One. Just 2 months ago, police publicly apologized to local rap star Khuli Chana for shooting at him. They promised to pay Chana's expenses. Now, however, they say they will not pay what they say is an excessive damages claim. In response, Chana is now suing the police for 2.3 million rand.
It seemed like the best possible end to an embarrassing saga. The SAPS made an unprecedented apology to Khuli Chana for not only mistakenly opening fire at him, but also for falsely accusing the rapper of trying to murder police officers. The charges against the officers who fired at Chana, officers who didn't even have firearm competency certificates, were dropped.
I hope that the SAP have learned something from this, and that things will be different from now on.
But that, it seems, was not to be. Email correspondence reveals that senior police legal services officials admitted that the SAPS was responsible for the shooting and agreed to pay Khuli Chana's expenses and damages. But when the rapper's lawyers sent them a detailed list of claims amounting to 1.3 million rand, the police backed out of the deal.
It's taxpayers' money, so it cannot just be given as a blank check.
Chana's lawyers say they have provided proof of the damages he suffered. As part of the settlement, they had agreed to drop claims of malicious prosecution and defamation. But those claims are now part of the rapper's 2.3 million rand case against the police.
We've asked, even before the criminal trial started, to sit around a table with them to settle this matter because we don't want to waste taxpayers' money. The fact is our client was shot at 9 times by the police driving to work, to a gig, and he must be compensated for it.
From rock bottom to on to up above or beyond,
If no deal is reached, the legal costs of this increasingly ugly case are certain to escalate. And that will cost taxpayers far more than the 1.3 million rand Khuli Chana had originally asked for. Karen Morn, Johannesburg.
The case of little Tigran Morris, who died in a hijacking in Reiche Park, saw a community very unhappy over the way the case has been handled. It also saw something of a standoff between the police and the National Prosecuting Authority over the release of the suspect last week. The NPA said proper procedures were not followed, and that is why the suspect was released. The police strongly denied shoddy work. On Monday night, Reiche Park residents attended a community meeting to voice their concerns.
United in their fight to know the truth, they want to know why the only suspect in the killing of Tigran Morris was set free. Also present at the meeting were Elwyn and Chantel Morris. These officials say they are not the ones who discharged Thamsanqa Ntwala.
The suspect was not released by the investigating office. It was released by the NPA. There is a difference between NPA and the police. We are not on the same department. It's different department. The one of the advocate point the finger at the police. That is a liar. He's lying to point a finger at the police. He's lying.
But residents still demanded answers.
The question is, gentlemen, you are in power. Do something about it. If it was your child, what would you have done?
We cannot blame the police. The police are doing their job. They're picking the criminals up. But that's where it ends. When it gets to the Boksburg court, and every time you put the news on, Boksburg court. Little Tigran's case was at the Boksburg court. Senzo's case was at the Boksburg court. All these cases are postponed. It's not postponed. It's thrown out.
Tigran's family has called on locals to stay united in fighting crime in the community.
It's about time that we put the fear back into them that they have instilled into us. So, with the help of the police, we need to take out whoever we feel that are busy with criminal activities, because at the end of the day, it affects our children.
Locals have given police and the NPA 7 days to provide them with answers. Malungelo Boy, Reiche Park.
There was strong public reaction in Cape Town this week over art. First, a giant sculptor of sunglasses in Sea Point was defaced, the artist saying his life was threatened. Now the city's erected another sponsored sculpture that's also causing a stir.
The defacing of these giant sunglasses has triggered a debate on public art. Artist Michael Elian claims the piece pays homage to former President Nelson Mandela as it looks out over Robben Island. But Elian says he now fears for his life.
There were calls on Facebook by respected members in the art community for violence against me personally. There were threats made against my personal safety.
His work has been criticized for being little more than a PR stunt for sunglasses company Ray-Ban.
I don't think public art should be funded privately. I don't think that the City of Cape Town is doing enough to ensure that corporate entities are prevented from appropriating public space.
Just a day after the sunglasses incident, a new 2 million rand installation was erected on Signal Hill. The Sun Star is designed by Christopher Swift and sponsored by hotel chain Sun International. The 5-story piece is constructed from fencing reclaimed from Robben Island. Swift says artists need corporate sponsorships to survive.
There's no money for it, there's no huge benefactors. We're in a recessive climate. Art is the last thing to get any money.
But art lecturer Nomusa Makubu says the problem with these artworks is that they're not accessible to all, and they're a painful reminder of the legacy of apartheid.
The proximity or the distance between those spaces, not only that, but also the fact that the city is actually constantly alienating its own people. So that notion of social alienation becomes particularly important for how we understand how public spaces are being privatized by capital.
Cape Town Mayor Patricia de Lille says people need to be more tolerant.
Allow people the freedom of expression to express the way they feel in any form of art or wisdom. And so I condemn it in the strongest possible term because it shows intolerance.
Concerned artists have now called on the City of Cape Town to develop clear guidelines for sponsoring art in public spaces. Bonga Dlulane, Cape Town.
From filibustering to giant spectacles, that's your Week in One. Goodbye and have a great week.